comes to play here is that Xiaohai gets a fireball. And that, in my opinion, not the charge fireball, not the OD fireball, it's the fact that he just gets a fireball. And it changes so much in the way that this match actually ends up playing out from this point forward. Because now look where Xiaohai can attack from. This is not a range Xiaohai was threatening from at all. Remember, at this distance, if you light scissor kick, you will be punishable. This is not a safe light scissor kick distance. By Xiaohai adding this single little thing here, he can now threaten from a little bit farther away. And now he has the standing heavy kick here. And see, guess where Xiaohai moved to? He didn't move back into that range where he was losing to Blas. Immediately after the heavy kick, what does he do? He walks backwards. Look at this. He is bringing himself back to this range. This is the range that Xiaohai wants to play Mai from. And this changes everything, because now Ryu has a little bit harder time fighting in this range. And so now what happens is that, and again, you see Xiaohai throw a fireball. At the start of this, what happens is Blas is now like, okay, you're going to fight at that range. Guess what, punk? I've got a fireball too, right? Oh, and by the way, standing heavy punch with Mai, amazing button. Again, like, it just has that range. So between that stand medium punch and standing heavy kick for Mai, she covers a lot of good distances that complement the fan being thrown. All right, so you're going to see Blas do this a lot. He's going to try to perfect parry the fan a lot. But already here, you see how much harder of a time Blas has winning the neutral. Right? Just because of that space here. So now Xiaohai gets this whiff punish here. And he also gets the corner carry. All right, you wake up with that. Sure, no problem. And this is just a scramble situation here. But again, just willing to throw the fan. And because he saw Blas backdash, he can charge the fan, go for the mix-up over here. Blas gets out of the way. So again, like, yes, Xiaohai's going to find success from the OD fans and the charge fans. Clearly one of the strongest things that Mai has. That is not why he wins, okay? I'm just telling you, everybody out there who hates Mai and thinks OD fans and charge fans are the cheapest thing in the world, that is not why he wins. He wins because he gets to control this space here. And again, even Xiaohai knows that this space, this distance, is becoming uncomfortable for Blas. And Blas will probably throw a fireball. Xiaohai, V of reactions, like I said, knew that he was going to throw a fireball. He had the drive impact ready for it right away. And so because now Xiaohai is able to control this match at this range, it actually hampers what Blas was doing to his Bison. How many times did Blas just hit that crouching medium punch or the standing heavy punch to the face to Xiaohai and win matches? Or, hey, you weren't paying attention, I sneak in a Hashogeki, now you gotta deal with this dumb little mini game. Xiaohai is like, you know what? I can't win that against you. And you know what? There's a lot of like nice little pride swallowing here. He's like, I can't beat you in that range. You know what? Screw it. Let's go to Mai. And so Mai, look at this distance that he's playing now. He's playing so much more defensive and he's playing so much more patient all of a sudden. And that's a huge problem too. I don't know if Xiaohai knew that. Kinabalu in the chat says Blas's father said nobody in Chile is playing Mai, so he doesn't have that much experience with Mai. This is important to note here. Blas and Craime, they're so good. Those two have the potential to turn each other into the best players like on the planet. Like they're so good. And what they gotta do is do what Angry Bird and Big Bird do. Play everybody. Play everybody and just fight each other with every single one of those characters over and over again and keep telling each other what they're doing wrong and what they're losing to. And as long as those two stay training partners, like, I feel like it could be over for so many people. Hey, thank you for the raid, Deadly Rave Neo. You're the Deadly Raid Neo now. So yeah, let me see. Would it serve Blas better to risk getting DP'd but jumps in more to make Xiaohai second guess fan tosses? Probably, because we didn't see Blas. We don't see Blas jump that much. At least from my memory, I don't think Blas like jumped ever. Like, I think he just tried to fight the Footsies a lot, but he definitely did get anti-aired a couple of times. So even then, Xiaohai has really good anti-air reactions, right? So he was able to snipe a lot of those out. Yeah, oh yeah. No, I'm not saying that they're not. Clearly, Blas and Crimea are doing that, but you know, one of the key things is going to be that they're just going to have to play every goddamn character. And I'm sure they're doing it. That's why Blas had a Jamie at one of the World Warrior finals and blew a bunch of people up. The interesting thing about Erinim asks, how do you beat Mai? That's a really good question, and this is why a lot of people consider her one of the strongest characters. She's not broken, but the thing about it is she controls everything, and she doesn't control everything, sorry. She doesn't have a specific point of weakness. A lot of characters have certain weaknesses. Maya's great close up, because like I said, her lights are great close up. She doesn't have that long range light, but she has plenty of buttons that makes up for it. She has great range on the heavy punch. Her heavy kick is really, really good. She's got fireball. She's got a wake up DP. She's got a great drive rush. She's got a great throw loop, etc., etc. So like, she's basically right now the jack of all trades. If you are a good player, you can do pretty much whatever you need to do with Mai. And then, if you need to, OD fans, charge fans, kind of a neutral skip, follow it, have a way, get in. Very, very strategic. No. Xiaohai's experience in KOF will have no bearing on how he's playing Mai in this game. So, it's not just because she's an SNK character that makes it work, because some people have said that Mai right now is Street Fighter 6. You know, funny enough, she is the prototypical, this is what you want out of your character if you're in Street Fighter 6. Again, nothing she does outside of maybe the OD fans is broken. However, she has everything that you kind of need. Now, how do you fight Mai? You have to have really good defense, because the biggest thing that you have to do, in my opinion, to fight Mai is to very, very much pay attention to her drive gauge, especially if you're fighting online against a lot of, lower level Mais. OD fan is a crutch, and if you can learn how to survive an OD fan mix-up, and again, there is no answer on how to survive the OD fan mix-up. If Mai throws an OD fan, that drive rushes after you and goes for a low, a mid, a throw, whatever like that, yeah, your life sucks. It just does. Like, that's one of the beautiful things about her character, why she is so strong and why a lot of top players use her. But the thing about it is, if you survive that, you have to realize she just spent 3 blocks of her drive gauge. OD fan, drive rush. There goes 3 blocks of her drive gauge, so if she tries it again, she'll burn herself out. And so what you have to understand is that whenever Mai makes these kind of attempts, she has to now back off. And a lot of Mais will back off, and the higher level Mais will, in any case, will back off and try to build that meter back, and slowly do that by throwing fireballs and, and trying to zone you a little bit and then get enough meter to be able to try again. So the thing about beating Mai, I think that's really important, is keeping an eye on her drive gauge. If you can survive one of those OD fan mix-ups, and sometimes you'll see it's as simple as like block the fan and then backdash, and then she drive rushes and does nothing, and now she lost 3 bars. Go in. Like, now you gotta find a way in, which is easier said than done because she has a DP, she has great range normals. But now understand that the threat that you present to her is that she has to keep you away to build the gauge back, right? That's what it comes down to at this point. Because if you get away with that without spending any bar, you have 6 bars, she has 3 bars, and you're like, well, I have stuff to get in now, right? So this is what you have to do. You have to make sure she can't get that gauge back for free. If she throws the OD fan, drive rushes, you get away from it, and then she backdashes and starts throwing fireballs at you and stuff like that, and you just accept that and kind of fight her, you're playing into her game, and she's just basically going to destroy you that way because you're not taking advantage of that. What Mai wants to do is very drive gauge expensive, and the highest players are going to be able to manage that very, very well. And so to answer Aaronim's question there, how do you beat Mai? You know what? A lot of people are asking the same thing. If you fight a good player, it's hard. It is hard. Again, she has nothing that's broken, but you see how her game plan is just very solid, right? Like, it's very hard to take advantage of that weakness. Now, for you guys fighting, you know, like not quite at, you know, EWC winning levels here, you know, keep in mind that if she does a OD fan and then drive rushes after you, like, keep an eye on the opponent. The opponent might just do it again and burn themselves out. Let them do it, kill them, right? If they actually are smart enough to back off and try to stay away, make sure you apply some sort of pressure, walk up to them. You don't have to drive rush back at them or do some crazy neutral skip, but just start walking at them and see how they react. Certain nervous players will just be like, oh my God, he's coming in my space, poke, 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 and stuff like that. Or then you can whiff punish them, or they'll be like, oh my God, throw a fan, then you could jump and kill them. Some of them might just be like, you know, patient with you, try to play footsies, and, you know, and then maybe that way, then you can sneak in with a drive rush or get into range, crouch, medium kick, drive rush, cancel, now apply pressure. Because she spent 3 bars to get in on you, so you walk up into the range. She's not going to do crouching, medium kick into drive rush, cancel, because she'll burn herself out unless she's gained a little bit back, which she probably has at this point, but still, that'll put her on the verge of burnout, which is a scary thing, right? So you can walk up a little bit more into her space, find an ability to land crouching, medium kick, drive rush, cancel, and come after her. And now you can just do the true block string, crouching, medium kick, drive rush, cancel, crouching, light punch. You're in plus frames, and now you're basically kind of equal in drive gauge here. But now she's losing some because she's blocking this, and now you're applying pressure, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, just don't let her build the meter for free. Just don't let her build her meter for free. Most of the regular fans can be punched out of the air. Could that help? It could, but if you're too far away and you punch the fan, she may drive rush after it and hit you out of your button, so that's actually kind of scary. And yes, actually getting better at perfect pairing fans helps a lot. It helps a lot, and it's tough because it's way later than you think. It is way later than you think, and also keep in mind, doing it from crouch doesn't help you at all, okay? There is a lot of people out there who think that if you actually perfect parry from crouch, it makes it easier, or parry from crouch, it's easier to perfect parry the fan because you stand up into it. That is not true. This is something that I've seen even strong players say, and it's not true at all, okay? Keep in mind that if you perfect parry, the first 2 frames of perfect parry, oh God. Did I get it? Nope, I missed it. I just did crouching light, which crouching medium punch. Let's see here. Did I get it? Yep. So keep in mind that the first 2 frames that can perfect parry will also be in crouch. Okay, so You can see here the first frame of Ryu trying to parry is in a crouch position. So even though no matter what, there's no such thing as a drive parry while you're crouching, the first 2 frames are going to be crouching anyway, right? So one of the things that makes this tricky about this is that you're better off standing up trying to perfect parry it, because if you wait till you crouch like this, I'm doing it way too early. If you try to do it like here, even if I perfect parry it, like there was the perfect parry right there, I believe, I have to wait so many frames for that fan to get to me that Mai has a lot of time to do all sorts of things. So you're always going to be better off standing up. Oh God, you always have to... I guess I'm not. Oh, Jesus Christ. So fireballs, you know what? It's funny. I never thought about this, but yeah, if you get an imperfect parry, isn't it? In it. No, that's actually... No, there it is. Okay, I was right. You could do it from crouching. I was actually doing it too early. But you can see how trying to crouch perfect parry the fan is just not a good idea. So try to stand perfect parry the fan, because one, you'll perfect parry it way earlier. No, that's it. You'll perfect parry it way earlier so that Mai has less of an ability to come and attack you. So one of the reasons why I've said that sometimes I think the nerf to Mai that you can walk away from the fan is actually kind of helpful for Mai, is because I want to hold back and stand up and perfect parry this thing. But now if I walk backwards, I move out of the range, and sometimes, like if you're kind of in a let's do a different strength one here. So let's just do the, oh, that's right, on OD it's the same. Let's do, I think there's a, whoops. Let's do medium fan like this. Nope, let's try light one here. I think the light one is gonna do it here, yeah. So what happens a lot of times, if you walk backwards, and it's gonna, I've seen this happen, it's gonna be different characters, so maybe it is the medium one here. Let me see if I can find a way to simulate one of the problems I've seen about this. Is I've seen people walk backwards and then the fan hits them at their leg, which is really, really annoying, you know? And so that actually makes it harder to perfect parry. Like, I would like to just be able to stand still and perfect parry it. God, it's actually, Jesus Christ, it's annoying. It's so hard to time. But the fact that you really kind of have to learn this is really kind of annoying, for sure. But it is definitely one of the best ways to fight Mai here. So yeah, if he does the heavy one and you start walking a little, okay, yeah. The problem with the heavy one for Mai, obviously, is that you also give enough space that the opponent can easily be like, you know, I can challenge, you know, kind of thing. So a lot of times the Mais will do the other strengths just to make sure that it's harder for you to get through in the middle there. But learning how to perfect parry it does help. And again, crouching to perfect parry doesn't actually make a difference. And in fact, it's by far worse for you to do that way, unless you're point blank range, because then the second hit comes really fast and Mai will still be in a little bit of delay, etc., etc. So there is a chance for you to do something that maybe from crouching it helps, but again, you'd still be better off doing it from standing, because you'd recover faster and have a better chance of punishing her. So again, someone who's better than me could probably say why there would be reasons to crouch and try to perfect parry that fan, but as far as I know, I'm not sure that there are good reasons to. No, I was definitely not getting used to that 5-frame delay. I hated that thing. Holy crap. Right, so her regular fan can't win a fireball war. Absolutely, exactly. So again, another little thing to keep in mind when you're fighting against Mize as well. But again, as I mentioned, the reason why that this is starting to go the way that it's going, in my opinion, where are we here? Yeah, that's the right one. Okay. Is that Xiaohai is able to control the space really well. So we kind of got sidetracked in how you beat Mai. Again, just, you know, drive gauge is going to be a very important resource for her. So make sure you take advantage of successful defense, right? And also there are ways to fight her, right? So this is the other thing to remember. Whenever she throws an OD fan or does a charge fan, after the fan bounces off of you, there's a lot you can do here. You can backdash, you can walk backwards, you can press a button. If you have a good sweep that moves you forward, then the fan will go over your head. Pay attention to which height fan it is. You can try to DP. You can try to find a move that knocks down so that you trade with the fan, but that's fine. You get out of that situation. You could try to perfect parry the fan on the way down. You could jump into the fan and confuse her. Like, she's like, wait, I wasn't ready to juggle you out of this. Like, you could do all sorts of things here. Test everything that you've got. Like, check to see if I do this combo, do I slide under the fan fast enough and I get away? And this move is safe on block, cool, you know, or whatever. Like, but keep them all in mind and make sure you use all of them. The key is that you have to make sure that the Mai has no idea which one you're going to do. And if you can keep all those different things in mind, it makes it a little bit easier, because while she has that fan hovering over your head, it's not like she's +2 and right next to you and hitting a 6-frame button, and so now you can't press anything. You can press everything. It's just that a lot of the things that you do will get you killed, right? So if you can figure out which things actually help you, which things actually work, which things can be annoying to Mize, and kind of cycle between them, and then it just becomes the mind game that now you know that they know that you know that they know, blah, 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 all that stuff. But having the whole arsenal is important, because if you only think that the way to escape this is perfect parry, the fan bouncing on the way down, or go for an ODDP or backdash, like, it's easy for the Mai to beat you up. Because if you only use those 3 options, you know, block the ODDP, drive rush, chase the backdash, and, you know, if you're trying to perfect parry, throw before the fan hits you, right? Like, you've given her too obvious of her cycle, a wheel of options to kill you. If you have all sorts of weird stuff going on, sometimes you walk back, sometimes you backdash, sometimes you crouch and stick out a jab, sometimes you do, like, if you can figure out all the different things to keep it so that she doesn't have an obvious wheel of choices to beat you up with, it makes it a little bit harder for her to take advantage of that. Again, you are in a disadvantageous situation. When you block the charge fan or you block the OD fan, you are at a disadvantage. If she ends up hitting you and doing a bunch of damage, you know, again, that's why people hate Mai. This is why people hate Mai. But you can make it so that your odds of surviving are a lot higher if you are willing to lab all the situations and keep it harder for them. In other words, make sure that she doesn't have 2 or 3 options that beat your mix-up. Make sure she has to do, like, guess 1 out of, like, 5 or 6 things. Or even 7, if you can. You know, like, just try to get it as many as you can so it's not obvious, basically, is the best way to do that. So, can you try punish counter one of her attacks with a DI to drain her drive gauge? In what situation, JNV, exactly? What do you mean by that? Would Mize fans give Guile players problem? He likes to spend a lot of time crouch blocking. Yeah, when you fight Mai with Guile, I haven't seen this matchup enough. My guess would be on paper, as a Guile player, you have to be more mobile. you have to not be relying on your flash kick as much. You're gonna have to rely on your other normals for anti-air, etc., because yeah, being stuck crouching will get you killed. Like I said, I personally haven't seen a lot of Mai versus Guile at the highest levels, because again, there's not a lot of Guiles. It's weird, you know. But I'll have to go back and watch, because even in the States, like, we don't have a lot of like the top players playing Mai a lot. Right? Like, so, you know, if we have a lot of our strong Guiles out here, like Knuckle-Doo and stuff like that, like, I don't see Punk playing Mai against Knuckle-Doo, you know, kind of situations here. So, I think annoying things like this should either be changed or nerfed, because nobody wants to learn that against an SNK character in Street Fighter. Madden, I mean, again, like, the amount of times Mai has actually had that fan bounce, I think, is way less than the number of games that she actually has it. So it's not even really an SNK thing. Other characters have had similar-ish kind of things before. It's not a particularly SNK thing, honestly. It's not really an SNK kind of thing. Thank you, Zipmaster Flex. Thank you. I know you missed the beginning of the stream. It was a little bit. There is definitely a bittersweet kind of experience, the EWC stuff, but you know. Okay, that's fair. You just dislike guest characters. That's fair. Just think of her as a brand new character then. Just think of her as a brand new character. This is not Mai from SNK. This is Mai, you know, that the Capcom guys made up from their ideas of wanting to finally give Chun-Li her Ken, right? So, like, you know, Ryu's always had Ken, Sakura had Karin. Chun-Li's never had her rival who's not a bad guy, so they created up Mai, and they, just like Ken, gave her fire. She dresses in red, you know, and, you know, she's, you know, sexier, so she's just the rival. Oh, man. Any case, let's get back to this match over here. But again, the key thing here is that Xiaohai is able to play at a different distance right now. And this different distance is what's causing Blas a little more difficulty to win here. See, again, this range, this beautiful range that he has, he's just checking. And you see now, Blas is the one that's trying to get in on Xiaohai. If you remember when he was using Bison, it was always Xiaohai trying to get in on Blas. Like, he's trying to get in with the stand medium kick. So Blas was the one that was whiff punishing and doing all these things and kind of having this nice range here. And now you see Blas walking into the fan because, yeah, Ryu wants to get into that range too, because he can get the crouching medium kick, he can get the standing heavy punch, he can start the Hashogeki pressure. But now what you're going to see is that Xiaohai is going to try very hard not to be at that distance. And again, this is what fighting games are all about, right? The optimal distance for Bison when Xiaohai was fighting against Blas is also a pretty optimal distance for Ryu. So it doesn't necessarily give Bison the advantage. By playing Mai, he's playing a character whose advantage range is a little further than Ryu's, so this is going to change the matchup entirely. Against the distance between two characters is like the key to everything. Like, so many fighting games you play, it's gonna be about the distance between your characters. And Mai thrives at this range, which to the naked eye doesn't look that much farther than the range that he was fighting with Bison. But trust me, as a person who's been playing fighting games for a long time, this is like a football field difference. Okay? Like, playing at this range, because Bison stand medium kick whiffs at this range. So he would have to move a little bit closer. And again, for me, who's been playing fighting games for so long, the difference is massive. Like, I can feel the difference in this distance. But for, you know, a lot of casual viewers, you might not notice this distance, that this is the big change. But it is a really, really, really big deal here. So here we go. This is how Blas is going to choose to counter this. Is the fireballs are annoying. So now what I'm going to do is perfect parry this because I'm Blas and I get a punish counter, and this is great. So here's a good start for him, right? But unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, as soon as you perfect parry, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll check this, maybe we'll check this again a little bit later on, but when you perfect parry, even the fireball, I believe that triggers the scaling until the opponent gets to neutral. And because this is a punish counter, she doesn't get to neutral. So drive rush jab, like, I feel like that should have did way more damage, right? That looks like perfect parry damage right there. So I'm pretty sure even though you perfect parry the projectile, as long as you hit them out of the recovery, you get the perfect parry scaling at this point. In fact, you know what? Why are we even wondering? Why are we wondering? Again, this is what training mode is for. Freaking test it out, man. Like, freaking test it out. And this is what makes training mode so cool, right? So in other words, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to record to do this, right? And so I'm just going to do this and, ooh, oh my God. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Wait, I don't have to walk back to do this, right? Do I have to walk back to do this? No, I don't. Okay, sick. That makes it easier. All right, 50%. 50% on that stand medium punch. There you go. So you can see it at the top of the screen right over here. It says 50% for that stand medium punch. So yes, I'm correct on that. So even perfect parrying a projectile causes the scaling to happen until the opponent goes back to neutral. So if you get a punish counter, you get scaled damage. So again, Blas successfully perfect parried that fireball, the fan, hit him. But now remember what we were talking about in the previous time is that every time Xiaohai was right, he wasn't doing as much damage as Blas. And so in this kind of situation here, that's a really big discouragement for there. But if you're Xiaohai, you're like, well, you have to perfect parry my fireballs and you're going to get less damage. So your reward's not as high. Why is this going to discourage me from throwing fireballs? Like, I can keep throwing different speed fireballs, messing you up. And if you're just trying to perfect parry fireballs to drive rush in there and do that damage, bring it on. Bring it on. Hey, look, Zip, Chun-Li is always going to be my queen, okay? If you're talking Street Fighter characters and I'm just literally just rating the women in terms of attractiveness, Chun-Li is always going to be number one for me, okay? Because she's Chinese and she wears blue, okay? Look. Frank KOF, we'll take a look. If you see something that you perceive as a dropped combo, let me know. And we'll discuss it for sure, unless it happened somewhere else, not in this match that you can remember. Would it make sense not to do a full combo with the scaling and go for reset attempts? Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I will perfect parry things with Zangief and do crouching light kick into SPD. It's not a combo, but if your opponent's not thinking about it, you get a full damage SPD off of that. Because you're like, boo, and they're like, oh my God, here comes some crazy Zangief, or he's just gonna SPD me, jab, SPD. And what? You weren't thinking about it, but the problem is if your opponent knows that you wanna go for the extra damage, they can call you out and blow you up for it, right? Because then I fought people that I tried to do that, and they jump away, and I whiff an SPD, and I die. So, yeah, absolutely, resetting after a perfect parry is a very common thing, honestly. That's not the right thing I wanted to do. I turned that on. Let's go back over here. So here we go. Blas gets the knockdown here, and immediately Xiaohai goes for a wake-up DP. I don't know if Xiaohai's getting a read on this, because you'll see his ODDP rate is really high. His success rate is really high against Blas. In fact, I don't even remember if he ever got one blocked. It might have been one. But, the main thing to point out here is that he has an ODDP. With Bison, nope. You gotta hold that. You gotta hold that. And it makes it really hard, which is why even when Bison was super strong when he first dropped out, I was like, I don't think he's as good as everybody says. Because I really feel like you need an ODDP to be top tier in this game. I really, really feel like you need to have an ODDP. And I don't think there's any top tier characters in this game that doesn't have an ODDP. Like, I think it's like you have to have one. And so, you know, having one is always going to be better than not having one. And in fact, you know, the question, would you DP for $1 million or would you DP for $120? Xiaohai got asked that question. So there we go. So now he's turned things around. But see, here's the important part here. He gets the ODDP and he does go in on Blas, right? So he's breaking that distance that I told you that he wants to be optimized. But this is Street Fighter 6. When you get the knockdown, you go for the mix-up. You take advantage of the Oki. That's just what you do in this game. So that's what Xiaohai does. And it doesn't really work out. Okay, so that's plus frames, yeah. So he's dealing with this pressure. And immediately, see, again, the difference here between what he was doing with Bison and what he was doing and what he's doing now with Mai is like, oh, cool. I got this space here. What does he do? He walks back and throws a fireball, right? Try to perfect parry it. Didn't get it, right? Try as often as you want. Try as often you want. But guess what? Look where Xiaohai went back to, right? He's not trying to be aggressive. He micro-walked and then he walked back. He is back at this range again. And by staying at this range, he's neutralizing a lot of Blas's high damage from landing the standing heavy punch, the crouching medium kick, the crouching medium punch, etc., etc. And again, he knows how annoying this distance is, and that's going to tempt Blas to throw fireballs. And so he busts this out for the second time here. Double dashing just to get closer to the corner to build up those power-up fans. And there you go. Again, so now being at this range over here, you see how much farther Blas has to travel to go for the overhead. Still pretty fast. I think this is not anything crazy. I think Xiaohai just had the check ready to go. I'm not going to pretend like, oh my God, this is some crazy. Like sometimes it's just like, I pressed the button and I won. Sometimes it just happens. Oh man, I play Bison again since 4 weeks. Took me almost 1.5 years to pick him up again in Street Fighter 6 because in 4 and 5 he had so much swag combos. He has a lot of swag combos in this game too. He does have some swag combos in this game, but they all involve the mind, right? That's it. They all involve the mind. So you have to have the successful hit into the mind and then just start to have some fun. But here we go again. So like I said, because this is Street Fighter 6, you know, you get the knockdown here, you got to go for the pressure. You have to go for the pressure. So he goes for a shimmy right there. Doesn't really work out. And the powered up fans help right there because safer on block, 2 hits right there. So the frame data is going to be much better for Mai in this situation. Here, I'll show you. Why do I keep doing that? I need to switch to this is what I need to do. So if mine does, you know, just a heavy fan like this and I block it, right, she's -7, but I'm at this range here where, you know, I can still be kind of a threat. She kind of has to be cautious over here. I might not necessarily be able to punish her, but she has to think about it. But if Mai has flame stocks on, it hits me twice and now she's +1, right? So let's do exact distances here. Over here, oh, that's too close here. Actually, let's try something really quick. Here, boom. -11, right? -11. Let's try another distance here. let's try, let's try this, like so, right? So here, she's +3, so that's still too far away. Let's do, what else? Okay, that moves me a little forward. So let's try that, and then play her back here. Boom. -8, all right, okay. And then we change her to have flame stocks here, and I do the same thing, like so. Boom, now she's +4. So she she went from -8 to +4, right? No, she went to -4. I'm sorry. She went from -8 to -4, right? I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, so I'm +4. I'm +4, but if we take away this, like this, oops, I do this, like so, but now she's -8. So again, having the charged up fan just makes it so that you can cancel into the fan, and now the opponent can't take advantage of the minus frames as much. So it makes a big deal to have those flame stocks. Those flame stocks are nice to have. They definitely make it so that you can pressure a little bit here. So and be safer and not lose your turn as badly. All right, and there it is. There it is. Blas did try to jump over the fan. He did try to jump. But Xiaohai was ready, did not fireball, had the pressure, and there you go. And then, you know, he has a charge up fan here, just does this combo to the OD. You gotta guess here, and this is the power of Mai. This is why Mai is considered top tier. What does Blas do? He stands up. Xiaohai goes crouching light kick, pop, or light punch. Actually, it's a counter hit. Ooh, so Blas actually tried to press. So he gets hit here, pow, the end, game over. And so Xiaohai puts the first game on the board. So already we see why the change has helped. And again, the only time Xiaohai got a cool Mai mix-up was right there. Like, we hadn't seen the OD fans or the charge fan really come into play until that sequence right there, right? And again, a lot of characters can blow you up once they get you in the corner. Mai's is just really good. I'm not trying to downplay Mai. I'm literally telling you she's top tier, right? Do I have her at #1? Kind of, yeah, probably. But it's not like she's significantly better than anybody else in the game. So, but again, that wasn't the difference maker. The difference maker was literally that Xiaohai now has a fireball. That's it. Like, I feel like that was the biggest difference changer, because it now gets to let Xiaohai play at a range where Blas hasn't been able to kill him. When the Bison, I told you, remember that standing fierce. Remember that standing fierce in the drive rush cancel. When he crouching medium punched the scissor kick. When he did all these, standing fierce them again in another moment, like, those are not happening at all anymore. Xiaohai has not gotten hit by a single one of those hits in the drive rush cancel anymore. And why? Because he's able to play at a range that neutralizes where Ryu can hit you with those. So again, by playing a character that can threaten from that range, because even if Mai didn't have the fireball, Ryu can force that. He just walks right into that range, and now he's back in there, and he can fight you that way. But by playing Mai, who has a standing heavy punch, a standing medium punch, and a fireball, he gets to maintain this distance that has now prevented Blas from all of his round winners. Like, if you remember those first 3 games, like, it was always like, I got a random hit in the drive rush cancel, oh, cheeky overhead reset, or I just have enough meter to kill you. And he hasn't been able to land any of those here. So it's a very, very tough situation here now for Blas. So again, see, and because of that standing heavy punch, which is hits so far and is cancelable, like, as soon as he walks into the range that he wants to be, bonk, Fireball, bonk, and guess what? Hey, you're back over there again. And now we see Blas doesn't like that, so he's gonna drive rush in. You can already see now, Blas is trying to do something different now. He's trying to be a little more aggressive. He blocks the fireball, like I said, -8, right? We just checked it. That probably wasn't exactly -8, but it's gonna be minus something. And so this is the situation where, oh, you're minus? I can start a drive rush while you're still recovering from your fireball. So he tries to take advantage of the minus frames, not by punishing, but by able to move forward. So again, knowing that that situation is minus for Mai gives you the knowledge that you can advance in a more threatening way. If this was just a neutral, Xiaohai would check this drive rush every time. But because it was a minus situation and now he drive rushes and not only minus, but ambiguously minus, Xiaohai is just gonna defend. Because he's scared. Like, he doesn't know exactly how minus it is, so I don't know what to press here. Drive rush, so he's just gonna defend. But look at this. Now Blas has spent all of his drive gauge. Like, there it is. It's like all of his drive gauge is gone. And so by trying to be aggressive here, he's burned out a lot of his drive gauge here. And then what does Xiaohai do again? What does Xiaohai do after this trade? Okay, he just walks away. He walks away again to that distance and he throws a fireball. Like, it's crazy. Like, Blas is obviously trying to bait out a wake up here because he's like, oh, you have enough gauge that if you DP me, you still have an advantage. So it's totally worth it to do an ODDP right here. So I'm going to bait it out. And instead, Xiaohai walks away. Thank you for the distance. But Blas gets the perfect parry. Oh, but he doesn't actually do anything off of it. Ah! Okay, so yeah, he doesn't do anything off of it here. And then here, this is one of Mai's mix-ups. Drive rush, crouching light kick. I don't know what Blas trying to do. He didn't crouch block. And this is just one of Mai's mix-ups. And again, the reason why Xiaohai did it is because, like I said, one of the reasons ways to beat Mai is to take advantage when she has low drive gauge. The problem is, what if your drive gauge is low? Then she feels like she can throw this, and look, she still has more drive gauge. Even after the drive rush, she still has more drive gauge. So why not, right? Do this, and you're still equal in drive gauge. Gets the hit, gets the combo. And again, this is Street Fighter, so you go, this is Street Fighter 6. Go for your Oki. Misses the throw. Oh my God. And then just gets bonked. I'm not even sure what happens. And this is a scramble right here. Miss, bonk. Very fortunate for Xiaohai. But again, what happens? Xiaohai backs away, back at the distance again. You see how much Xiaohai is forcing this range here. This is the range that he wants. And Blas never was able to get through this with Ryu. Ryu was unable to fight at this range, and see, he's throwing the light Hashogeki because he's trying to bait out a response right here. Maybe the drive impact so he can counter drive impact. He does get the parry, so he has the plus frame, so he tries to take advantage of it, but he swings with a heavy. Xiaohai just happens to press, and he actually gets the counter hit here, which is gonna combo, but he wasn't sure if it was gonna hit. So you see what Blas is doing now? He's trying to bait stuff out of Xiaohai. He's trying to get Xiaohai to burn himself out by whiffing drive parries right now. That's what these Hashogekis are about. Because when you whiff those drive parries, watch. Look at that. So Xiaohai just lost half a block of drive gauge. And now you get to force him to block more. So he's just trying to get him to whiff those so he can get Mai to lower drive gauge. Like I said, that's one of the things that you want to do to fight Mai, is if you can get her drive gauge low, she gets very expensive at that point. Like I said, OD drive, I mean, remember that thing that he did earlier was OD fan and a drive rush crouching light kick. He can't do that now. Because if Xiaohai does that, he will have a tiny bit of drive gauge left. So this is what Blas is trying to do. He is trying to keep Xiaohai at a lower drive gauge. And one of the things he's trying to do is to get Xiaohai to try to parry fireballs, but throwing out light Hashogekis instead. We saw him succeed at that one time, so it did drain a little bit of his drive gauge. And so now Blas is in a little bit of an advantageous situation. But you can see Blas is changing his strategy. He's trying to approach this in a way that he can kind of take away what Mai wants to do. right? That's a lot of mental interactions going in a small time frame. These guys are next level. Yes. This is why they are winning hundreds of thousands of dollars and we are not. But again, like, the hardest thing is that when you're playing fighting games, you don't know. It's not that you're incapable of thinking of all these things. Most people just don't know this is what you should be thinking about. Most people just don't know these are all considerations. So I think it was Gustavo or somebody, I don't remember who it was who said, but someone asked him, like, oh, it was Gustavo because it was on his chat. I rated him and someone asked him the question, what is one of the biggest differences between top players and like strong players? Like, what's the thing? And Gustavo was like, looking at the drive gauge. Always keeping the drive gauge in mind. And I suck at this because in every game, when I played Under Night, like, I never won the grid meter. I never got into Vorpal State because I was just like, whee, flying and just spending my grid meter like an idiot. And so in this game, a lot of times I mess up, and it doesn't help that I'm left-right dyslexic, so that if I look up at the drive gauges, it takes me longer to figure out which one is mine. So that's an added problem, but that's a me problem. But I burn myself out a lot. I do. And so the top players are the ones that are going to look at the drive gauge, know how to play based off of the drive gauge. It's very, very important, super important in this game. And it's one of the reasons why I love this game, because I think I love that interaction. Because when I first heard about this, I was like, is it just going to be one of those things where nobody actually ever gets burned out? Or is it just one of those things where it's like super easy to burn people out? I think they got a really nice balance. Because as people have gotten better at this game, like, the burnouts, they still happen, but they're rare. And not only that, but people really play around it. They really have to focus on it in order to survive. And so managing the drive gauge is probably the biggest thing that will send you from being a good player into like that next level, right? Like, it really is super important. Hey man, I'm just happy if my move comes out. But yeah, I know, right? Like, it's crazy. But again, the crazy thing about it is like, before I get back into this match, and this is just kind of like a James lesson kind of thing here, that I just want to make sure that I get across over here. It sounds intimidating as fuck, right? Like, let's be honest with here. You're like, I'm never gonna get good at this. God, I don't want to think about the drive gauge, or, oh, do I really have to do blah, blah, blah. Again, you don't have to get there right away, okay? Take your time. Keep playing your game, learn the skills that you need to learn, because once those skills become second nature, now you can focus on other skills. And once those skills become second nature, now you can worry about other skills. And I would say drive gauge management is very important early on, but I wouldn't worry about it right now if you're in gold or if you're in platinum or whatever like that. Yes, it's important. Yes, if you can, yeah, think about it. But like, get good at the things that you need to get good at, like anti-airing and optimally punishing a whiffed DP. You know, things like that. Get good at those, and once it gets to the point where as soon as you see a whiffed DP, you already know what combo you need to do. Now you can start looking at your drive gauge and going, ooh, I shouldn't do that combo because I'll burn myself out. You know, you can learn these things little by little. Take your time, take your time. And it's a very high level thing, so don't worry about it. But the other thing I want to add to that is, yes, it sounds intimidating, but God damn it, when you get there and you like are like, wait, I'm going to start drive gauge management, and you start seeing the opponent close to burnout, and you're like, wait, I should attack his drive gauge, not his health. And you go after his drive gauge and you burn him out, and then you DI him into the corner and you kill him. God damn, does that feel good? Like, when you're like, fuck, I implemented that strategy, let's go. Like, dude, greatest feeling in the world. Greatest feeling in the world. And this is where the joy of fighting games come from. When you're like, this stuff is too hard, and then the first match you do that thing that you said was too hard, and it works, and you're just like, motherfucker, let's go. Like, dude, greatest feeling in the world. Greatest feeling in the world. That's why, that's the drive to keep pursuing after it, honestly. Like, when that works, like, every time I lab something and then I do it in a match, I'm just like, oh, let's go. That is the joy of the fighting games right there. Noah the Gray. Have people called him that before? That is a great name, by the way. That is a great name. Oh, man. But yeah, so again, you know, yeah, you're not thinking about all this crazy drive gauge management stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's not what you should think about right now. Get good at the things you need to get good at. Don't. The hardest part, again, is that fighting games are a video game. And again, people think that they're good at video games. And so they think that something that's hard in a fighting game is something that they should just get good at now. And no, that's not how it works. First of all, most of us are actually not good at video games. Have you watched AGDQ? And secondly, boy, people are gonna get mad at me. They're like, I'm good at video games. But again, like, take your time, take your time, take your time. That's the most important thing. Learn things as you need to go. Every time I was learning Tekken, people would be like, yo, King has a higher damage launch. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just glad I'm doing a combo after I get the hop knee. Like, I have to worry about neutral. I have to worry about all this other stuff. I'm not gonna worry about optimizing my combo, but you need the highest damage in case, if I lose because of a tiny bit of damage, because I didn't optimize my combo, I know if I optimize it, I would have won. That's good enough. Who cares that I lost? I'm learning other stuff, man. You can be good, but someone will be better. Yeah, but don't think of it that way. Because you know what? You're better than somebody else. They're probably looking at where you're at and they're like, damn, I wish I could be like him. You know, like, as much as they tell you that someone's always going to be better than you, someone's always going to be worse too. I don't know if that brings comfort to anybody, but that is an important way to look at it, because one of the problems with the advice of top players is there's always this whole thing like, oh, losing to players better than me is so good. Like, that's how you learn. I'm like, motherfucker, no, it's not. Like, beating up on people sometimes is a good way to learn. Because you get confidence that way. You gain confidence that way. You see things working. It's important to see yourself win every once in a while, you know? Like, when you get into the super competitive mode, like, there's all these platitudes like, oh my god, there's always someone better than you. You know, like, but like, you know, for a lot of the people who are like, I just want to like play and have fun and know what I'm doing. Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of people who are worse than you, and go beat up on people who are worse than you. Have fun, dude. But OCD minds saying you're not good enough if you don't do the absolute optimized combo. Yeah, top players already committed to being the student of the game. Lower levels need that feel good to keep playing. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a key factor here. So a lot of times when you listen to top players being like, this is inspirational speech, or this is how I challenge myself. I mean, literally, at my job, at my last job, I had a manager who was my friend, to be fair. I was friends with him before he became my manager, so I felt comfortable talking him this way. But I finished a project that he wanted me to do, and I handed it, and he's like, this was really good, but I think you could have added these kind of things. And I was like, hold on, stop. And he was like, what? I was like, look, I function better when you tell me I did good. I understand what you're doing. You're trying to challenge me to do better and do more. That's a common manager tactic. Doesn't work on me. I just feel bad that I didn't do the things. I'm like, oh, he's right. You know, I was like, that's not how you manage me. And he was like, fair enough. And from that point forward, you know, if I did a good job, he's like, great job. And I was an awesome employee. Different people think different ways, man. Different people work different ways. Oh man, anyways, let's get back to this because I don't think I'm gonna finish tonight, but we'll see what happens here. Well, that was an unfortunate situation. So right here, what happened here is that Xiaohai tried to press heavy kick, was not expecting Blas to walk forward. So because Blas blocks this here at this range now, he's in that danger range. And guess what? As soon as he got in this danger range, Blas gets a big hit on him, right? And then again, wake up DP. Wake up DP from Xiaohai a lot. And that's the second one we've seen now, and he's landed it. So like I said, his success rate is very high. Now, don't get me wrong, Blas has tried to bait out waking up DPs before, but just hasn't managed to successfully do it a couple of times. So Xiaohai is doing a good job mixing it up. But again, as a person who's been playing fighting games forever, look how Xiaohai is reacting to Blas. Do you see this? Do you see this? Blas is now trying to push forward. He doesn't like that range. So he's pushing forward, and look at this. Xiaohai, he's just walking backwards. He's like, get me out of here. I don't want to be there. And then he recognizes Blas was trying to be aggressive, so he wanted to change up from walking backwards to crouching medium kick, maybe catching Blas walking forward. That's not what happened. And now we have this situation here where Blas, oh man. Yeah, a little bit scrambly there, and nice ODDP there, but Blas has to burn himself out to do that, so he couldn't drive rush in afterwards, right? So after this ODDP, this is great, but he couldn't drive rush in. I don't know what Blas does here. He like just kind of sat there for a second, like he might have been pressing the parry buttons and then was like, crap, I can't, no, because then he would have attacked. I don't know, he just stood there for a second. He actually just, I mean, honestly, he might have just been lost for half a second. Like, what should I do? Should I go in? Should I throw fireball? Go in, go in. So he dashes up, and unfortunately, burned out situation makes it really hard for him. And that was him trying to predict a fireball. He was trying to beat the fan with that. So he's been trying to find ways to defeat the fan. So he backdashes here. He builds that distance. Most people would throw a fan here, so he tatsus. I don't even think Xiaohai was ready for this. He was like, what? Because clearly he didn't punish here. But again, because Blas is burned out here, what does he do in this situation, right? Throw an OD fan. You're in range for crouching light kick. You don't even have to worry about an ODDP or anything. Crouching light kick, pout, boom, bam. Obviously, Blas could have tried to do a level 1 super, perhaps. But Xiaohai obviously looking very strong again. Okay, and now switches a little bit to the offense. But see, look at this. How fascinating, right? He gets the throw, and instead of drive rushing in and trying to be aggressive, he just throws a fireball. And Blas, who's frustrated by this, tries to level 1 super it. And it just doesn't work. Oh, he finally gets a standing heavy punch. He finally gets one of those hits that he has not been getting all during the Bison match. And how did he do it? Because Blas is going Terminator mode here. There was one point in time where I mentioned that Blas was just going Terminator mode, walking in at people. Look at Blas. Look at Blas here. One of the hardest things to do in neutral and fighting games is to walk forward and not be scared. And Blas, dude, like, he just walked up. He's like, I'm going into the range that I want to be in. I'm punching you in the face. Oh no, what did he get hit by? I don't know what he got. He was baiting a wake up DP, and then he was gonna probably walk up and throw. I think he was doing a delayed walk up throw, or at least walk up button, and Xiaohai just pressed and got him here. And yep, like I said, you go for the offense when you can. Ugh, stupid solar plexus strike. But this is a round that Blas has gotten some of his stuff going over here. And now back to the scramble, and he's done it a lot by, again, being just aggressive and trying to push forward a little bit here. But again, he tries to jump over the fireball. So yeah, there was a second time. I remembered the first one, but I didn't remember the second one. But Xiaohai again with the anti-air, and now, hey, like I said, this is Street Fighter 6. Go for your Oki. So gets the DP, throw, drive rush, throw. And then he tries to throw again, and he gets hit by the level 2. And again, this is a... So remember when he was fighting Bison Remember when they were fighting each other? And, you know, one of the things that I kept saying was like, they're kind of winning. They're kind of going even in neutral, but Xiaohai is just not getting more damage. Look at the situation here. This round has been a very good round for Blas. He's been winning a lot more. He's one hit away from death. He's in no better position than Xiaohai. And in fact, Xiaohai technically has an advantage here because he can kill like literally off of any hit. Because the critical art, maximum scaling at 50%, will kill him after just a few hits and a drive rush cancel. So literally right now, Xiaohai is actually more threatening than Blas is because Blas has no super meter. Again, me personally, I'll just use this chance as a soapbox, which is why I hate no chip death and no chip or small chip or whatever. Like, I like chip death because having low health means a lot more when you can die by chip. Anyways, what's up, Itazura? Yeah, this will be on YouTube. Don't worry. This will be on YouTube for sure. So, yeah, any cancelable hit from Blas will kill. But the problem with it is, Blas has no advantage in this situation. He literally has no advantage. Even though he has more health, it doesn't mean anything because there's no chip death. That's the thing, right? Like, if Xiaohai is at that much health, or even at 2 pixels of health, it doesn't matter. Because you still have to hit Xiaohai to win, and if he hits you, he wins. So at this point, it literally doesn't matter how much health Xiaohai has. Unless he gets thrown, and then maybe another hit or something like that, or can die by a throw or overhead. But again, when you look at this, this is not a life deficit, essentially. This is not a life deficit. But he does get the hit, and what does he do? He goes for the biggest Okie-Doke, most expensive Okie-Doke. So this is important. So in this case, the low life definitely helped, although if it was a little bit higher, he still would have killed. But he actually goes for withstanding light kick, cancel, drive rush, low forward into drive rush cancel. He spent it all. If Xiaohai just blocked that at the last second, Blas would have been in his face with no drive gauge. He would have been burned out, and it would have been a scary situation. But this is the kind of thing that Xiaohai has forced out of Blas. Against Bison, he just played fundamentals. He just played really solid footsies and had great button timings and was just beating Xiaohai in the neutral. But now to take this round here, he had to go for like the craziest Okie-Doke ever. That literally cost 6 blocks. If he had all of his drive gauge, he would have 0 drive gauge right now. Because he did stand light kick, whiff cancel, 3 bars, and the crouch medium kick, drive rush cancel, 3 bars. So he literally would have been burned out no matter what. He went for the Hail Mary to get this round. Yeah, no, absolutely, Kinabalu. You know, Kinabalu Cat in the chat says, Blas trying to be random here. Absolutely. And again, that is not an insult. That is not downplaying what he did. It's smart because you have to throw things at people that they haven't seen before. You have to catch them off guard. And in that case, he did it. The problem now is that now that Xiaohai has seen it, if he sees a stand light kick, whiff cancel, drive rush forward, he'll probably low block. You know, Blas could sneak in with an overhead, et cetera, but again, it won't be as, wait, what is he doing kind of a situation as it was before. That's what we call shenanigans, right? Shenanigans is something that just catches you off guard because you're like, what? But then after you see it, now you can fight it a little bit better, right? And so it's not actually as effective as it looked. It just worked because at that time, they had no idea what the hell you were doing. So absolutely, being random and actually like doing shenanigans is a valid thing, but they're not going to win you tournament matches. They're not going to win you 2 out of 3 sets. That's the thing that you have to remember. So again, Blas trying very hard to move forward, get that distance, gets in with that drive rush, tries to go for a throw. Good perfect parry, gets away. So again, you see how he perfect parried the first fan and backdashed away, right? So people ask me, how do you beat Mai? This is a great way to do it. Perfect parry, backdash. Xiaohai just spent 3 bars. Xiaohai did a raw drive rush. Do you know how long it takes for you to start gaining your meter back after you raw drive rush? Do you know how long it takes? Let me show you how long it takes over here. There we go. If I don't hit you or drive rush or walk forward or whatever like this, takes a long time for that light for your drive gauge to start going up. So perfect parry, backdash, and then you see him drive rush and do nothing. It's gonna take a while before he starts getting, unless he walks forward, right? But if I stand still like this, it's 5 seconds. Takes 5 sets, 5-second cooldown. So again, that's one of the things you can try to do to take advantage of Mai, is to keep hitting the wrong thing, is to get away from it. And now we are in a situation where Xiaohai is it's gonna be a while before he can build up that drive gauge again. See, he's not gaining any drive gauge here. And you see Blas trying to take advantage of that again. He knows, so he goes for the light Hashogeki because he's trying to bait out the drive parry again. But Xiaohai's not biting. And so now Xiaohai's finally getting that drive gauge back. So again, Blas was not able to take advantage of this situation. And that's a problem, right? He was not able to take advantage of this. And Xiaohai slowly just zoned his way back to all this drive gauge. And then he gets the hit. Again, by catching Blas walking forward. Because again, Blas is annoyed. He needs to get in. So he knows because he knows that Blas knows that this is minus. So Blas is going to take advantage. Remember, last time when you did the fan and then he drive rushed forward, taking advantage of the minus frames. So he's just going to walk forward and try to take advantage of minus frames this time. Xiaohai actually calls this out. He's like minus 8, 9, 10 here, whatever like that. But he's like, you know what? I'm just going to press a button because you're going to try to take advantage of those minus frames and walk forward. So he just throws out a medium punch. And Blas basically reached too hard. He was filling up the balloon, trying to get it as big as possible, and he just put a little bit too much air in it, and it popped. So he tried to walk up a little too far before swinging, and so he's the one who got counter hit. So he tried to push it a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna walk in, steal as much real estate as possible, and press a button. But he pushed it a little bit too much. So he got counter hit here. He was absolutely plus in that situation, but he walked forward, really tried to push the advantage, and Xiaohai called that out, hits him, gets the confirm into the combo here, into the level 3, and of course Xiaohai is doing this because he wants to put Blas into as close to burnout as possible. Funk. And now we're in a situation. So yeah, Blas is parrying here because he wants to gain his drive gauge back. And that was really well done because he gained a lot of drive gauge. But Xiaohai read that, right? So he's like, oh, okay, you're burned out. You're close to burnout. You want to build up drive gauge. I know I have enough time to dash forward and throw you. And he does. And he catches Blas here. And you can see it was a punish counter. So actually, I think that was just still the recovery of the parry. Or did he start a new drive parry? I'm not sure. But that punish counter essentially sealed the deal. Put him at 0 health over here. 0 drive gauge. So he's trying to stay alive. Yeah. You see now the desperation, trying to get out. Oh, it's a tough situation right there. So yeah, drive gauge management. That whole end of the round right there was drive gauge management. And like I said, that's how you get to become one of the top players. You know, from being just a good player to a top player. Is Xiaohai played the drive gauge at the end there. Because Blas was so close to burnout, he kind of had to read what he wants to do here. So throws a fan, jumps backwards here. And he's like, you're going to try to get out of the corner. So he just has that DP ready to go. And then you block this, burned out here. And he's like, there's no way you're going to spend your level 1 to stop this DI. Look at the life lead that Xiaohai has. If Blas spends the level 1 to beat this drive impact, it's just a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. Because you'll probably spend the level 1 and lose anyway. Perfect KO.